What is up, everybody? Adam, Mike, Trace back again, week 4, the Sons of UCF pregame extravaganza featuring the one and only Trace Trylko. My name's Adam. I'm one half of the Sons of UCF. I've got my partner in crime, Mr. Mike, with me. Mike, how are you?
Doing very well, man. Good to see you guys again. A week off last week, and now here we go.
And we are back, and as always, we have our good buddy Trace Trylko joining us again this week. Mr. Trylko, how are you, sir?
I am well. I needed a week off after the Tulsa debacle.
I think we all did. Luckily, we got that much-needed respite. So let's get you oriented on what's happening today. We've got a lot of things in the works. We'll call this the moving parts edition of the Sons of UCF pregame show. A lot of things going on behind the scenes. But if you want to keep in touch with us, make sure you get in the comment section. You can leave us comments here throughout the episode. We will continue to read those, post some on the screen. And like this one right here, hello to Jan and Britt. Thanks for watching and listening as always. If you want to find out what Mike and I do, you can listen to us on the Sons of UCF podcast coming out each week. You can just find us on any of your normal podcast feeds. And you can always find Trace Trylko meandering about the social media space on Twitter, where, Trace, you were quite active this week. You had a couple of good kerfluffles here and there. I don't know if we'll have time to get into the glycerin controversy you started this week, but let's start with the other controversy this week, and that was what the heck happened at Tulsa. Obviously, we have not had a chance to talk to you since the, as you call it, debacle took place. You've had 13-plus days to decompress now, I should say. How are you feeling post-Tulsa?
Not very good still. I mean, it was good to have the week off to decompress from it, but this is a big game today, guys. Are they going to be able to address and overcome what I consider to be systemic problems? We know about the penalties. We can define it as discipline. We can talk about some of the lack of creativity in the offense. This is a big one today, and Tulsa showed us that, there's a lot of chatter from UCF Twitter Mafia players as well about just how great we are, and then we get punched in the face in the home opener and don't respond. And that, to me, is something that this team now will see what this team is made of and what the talent and how they respond to 2 weeks of coaching, in the last 2 weeks. How do they respond? Do they come out? Do they take care of business? Because if not, and I know you guys are glad we don't do a post-game show, especially after Tulsa, going to be a big meltdown in a couple of hours if they don't take care of business in Memphis. Can they? Yeah. Will they? I don't know.
I mean, obviously the penalties were a frustration. And we've seen that week over week. But Trace, is there anything else that really kind of caught your eye last week? I mean, obviously the struggles moving the ball seem to be uncharacteristic for UCF outside of penalties, which I think we all can agree on. Anything else really concern you about the performance against Tulsa?
I remember back, you asked me to grade Coach Heupel after the win at Georgia Tech, and I thought he called a good game. I do not think it was a good game plan. I mean, they had a year to prepare for Tulsa, and UCF did not outcoach Tulsa. Tulsa came prepared to win the game, and Tulsa didn't really do a whole heck of a lot different than they did when they won last year in their home field. So lack of creativity with the offense. I mean, we joke about this. We know the Heupel plays, and you said on your show this week, who are you really missing on the field? And I kept thinking about Gabe Davis is someone that I'm missing that can get the separation. I know we've had injuries, and injuries are a part of it, but if Dylan can't find an open wide receiver, well, you got to try a new thing here, Coach Heupel. You got to try to use the middle of the field. I think Mike talked about utilizing Otis Anderson more, and that's been for how many years now? We've talked about how do we better utilize Otis Anderson. You have so many talented players on this team. How can you creatively use them? And again, you can beat in East Carolina, no disrespect to them, but UCF has considerable amount of talent difference against ECU, but you don't get away with it with the mistakes that they've made. You don't get away with talent on these mistakes when you're playing a team that comes prepared to play like Tulsa, like Cincinnati, like Pittsburgh, like LSU. And I know we want to make a big deal out of Heupel's record. He's 12-5 in his last 17. And so the players, the fans, the coaches can say this is not a culture where losing is accepted. Losing has been accepted 5 of the last 17 games. So I'm not sure that the culture that we're hanging on to from 17-18, it's 2020, and the culture is we're losing ball games now that we should not be losing.
Trace, that's a great segue. One of the questions that we want to ask, and make sure you comment on your answers here, is this the biggest game in Heupel's coaching career? Is today's game the biggest in the tenure? And Mike, you and I talked about this during the show this week. You know, you can think of biggest in terms of stage, right? Fiesta Bowl obviously was a bigger stage game, but this may be the more important game. What do you want to see out of Heupel today? I know you were pretty critical of him this week. Some of the play calling was obviously head scratching. The discipline was certainly not there. What do you want to see coming out of the gate here from Heupel this week?
Something we haven't seen yet. That's what we're all asking for. Something different. Something that is going to catch Memphis by surprise. Something that's going to catch us by surprise because we know what's coming pretty much every game. This is the biggest game. Definitely right now. This is an elimination game. This game, the loser of this game is basically out of the American Athletic Conference. There's only how many more games after this? 5? 6? 5. And if we have 2 losses,
6,
forget it.
5. You hope, Mike, that's how many games you have left. With COVID, you don't know that you have those games. Right. They're on your schedule. You have today. That's what you know you have.
Right, and we still have Cincinnati hasn't lost a game in conference. SMU, Navy, and Tulsa. We need those teams to lose games. We don't get to play SMU. We don't get to play Navy. Tulsa already has the tiebreaker on us. If we lose this game today, forget it. And 4 games into the season to be out of the American Conference, I mean, that's hot seat. Heupel's on the hot seat if that happens today. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize to me, Mike. But again, we want to hear from you. Is this the biggest game in Heupel's coaching career? A couple of updates as much as we get them. It sounds like Heupel said this week that, quote unquote, all of the guys who are nicked up will be playing. He didn't go as far as to define what nicked up means. So take that for what it's worth, Trace. But how big a deal is it going to be to get back Greg McCray, Bentavious Thompson, Marlon Williams? It looks like Parker Boudreaux was at the stadium. We don't yet really know about Trey Nixon. Richie Grant sounds like he's playing. The week off obviously helped from that perspective. How big a deal is it to get those guys back?
Well, you want your main guys, obviously, and injuries certainly are a factor. I don't want to make an excuse out of them, but if, again, and I sound like I'm harping on Heupel a little bit, if you don't creatively use the players, this vast array of weapons you have, then what difference is it going to make? So I want to have these guys back, but you got to properly use them. And you got to find more ways for Dillon Gabriel to help you win a ball game because he's capable of winning you a ball game, but you got to put him in a position to succeed. So Brian Murphy is at the game, at @spokes_Murphy, mentioning that he sees Marlon Williams out in warmups, but not Trey Nixon. So that's good that we might have Marlon back. I'll tell you, you mentioned Parker Boudreaux. The offensive line has had some struggles. So if he, having not played yet, can bring some solidity to the offensive line, that'll be a big advantage today.
Mike, obviously we're going against Memphis, a team we know really well, a team we have had the lopsided advantage against, actually. I'll actually play this on the bottom. The last time UCF lost to Memphis was 1990. Here's some fun facts for you scrolling across your screen, Mike. But obviously a team that you've beaten so often, and we've had a lot of close games, particularly the last 3 games. Memphis is hungry. Do you think UCF's going to be able to match that hunger today? What kind of team do you think comes out in the field? Because I said this on the show this week. If I told you, if you didn't watch the game and I called you and said, hey, Mike, after the first series, UCF had 2 penalties, went 3 and out, and Memphis blocked the punt and returned it for a touchdown, you'd believe me. But if I told you that Parker Boudreaux, had a huge hole and Greg McCray ran for an 80-yard touchdown, you'd believe me too, right? So which UCF team do you think shows up? What are you looking to see from the squad as they hit the field for a Memphis team who we know is going to be fired up to play today?
Look, if we're not fired up, we don't belong to play in college football anymore. I just told you the last time you asked me a question. This is the biggest game. We can get eliminated after this game. So there should be no excuses. We beat them 12 times, 2 times. Who cares? This is the game this year. The whole season comes down to today, right now. And then next week is the same thing. And the following week's the same thing. But it starts now. We have no more wiggle room anymore after the loss to Tulsa.
Yeah, but that's true of Memphis as well. Everything you just said, you could be describing of Memphis, and we've got to go there and win the game.
Let's do a quick trivia question. We'll sneak this in here. Obviously, we have quite a history against Memphis. So here's our first trivia question of the afternoon. 4 UCF wide receivers have caught 2 TD passes against Memphis in the same game. Can you name those 4 receivers? Use your comment section on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, if you can get the answer. I know this one stumped Mike when I gave it to him over the text message machine yesterday. I see Trace looking quizzical. So let's see if you can get the 4 receivers to score multiple touchdowns in a game against Memphis. Trace, 13 straight against Memphis, 13-1 overall. What do you expect from a Memphis team today? You talked about, their schedule. They're one-on-one. They've had a bunch of games postponed, a bunch of games that have been canceled. They had a pretty uneven performance against Arkansas State, and then they lost a heartbreaker at SMU. What do you expect from a Memphis team that essentially says, hey, we have a new coach, we have a new scheme, but it's kind of a lot of the same guys are back this year?
By the way, I'm enjoying the scroll at the bottom about the last time Memphis beat UCF. By the way, we're as close to 2050 as we are 1990, if you want to feel old. That's how far we are apart in those years. Memphis is still a talented team. Quarterback White has been there, I think he's in his 6th year. He makes some mistakes, though. He can beat you. He can beat himself. And, we talk about turnover margin. You want to win that turnover battle. If UCF does that again today, you also have to capitalize on those turnovers. So, right, football is won in the trenches, right? Who makes the least mistakes? I expect a shootout between these two teams. I hope UCF comes out on the right side of it. I don't know if they will. I think they still have a talent advantage over Memphis. I don't buy into this. They've had this streak since 1990 any more than I believe Tulsa had our number. These are different eras, different teams. We're talking 30 years ago, the last time Memphis won. A lot of players have played the game of football, so I never buy a whole lot into that. But is it motivating for Memphis? I'm sure that it is, but I also remember Dylan Gabriel saying, I haven't forgotten about that Tulsa game one time since. And, well, now he can remember it until the next time they play.
And here is the answer to that trivia question. So, again, 4 UCF receivers have caught multiple touchdown passes in a game against Memphis. Traquan actually did it twice, both in 2017. Snelson once in 2017. Jamar Newsom back in 2010. And one of the best ever do it, Brandon Marshall, caught 2 in the 2005 game. So as we march along here on the Sons of UCF pregame show, pleased to see our first guest has popped into the waiting room. And so happy to bring on a legendary Knight, somebody that you will know instantly as you see him on the screen. There's the one and only Jordan McCray, who was kind enough to take some time out of his day to join us on the Sons of UCF pregame show. Jordan, first off, thanks for taking some time this afternoon to hop on the show. I know I saw an article that you given an interview about the UCF offensive line struggles. And if you don't mind, I kind of want to start there. Breakdown so far, somebody who's played position, somebody who's seen and knows what happens. What are you seeing in terms of what you think is leading to all the penalties we've seen on the offense?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on the show. And some of the things that will lead to false starts and things of that nature, just lapses, mental lapses, guys thinking too much about what's going on or what the play is, and the snap count is supposed to be for the offense's advantage. So maybe just thinking too much about the play going ahead and not exactly when the play's supposed to start. A lot of that can probably be attributed to not having as much time prepared in the offseason this year with COVID and all of that thing. But hopefully, today we'll see a big difference and it won't be as big of a problem, because you have those every now and then, but how much has been happening for us is just a little bit too much right now.
Jordan, we've been asking this question for weeks now. What can Heupel do to fix this problem? We've seen it now at the fall starts for the last couple of weeks. If you were the coach, what would you do to fix the problem? Would you take somebody out in the middle of a drive if they keep doing the same thing? Matt Lee snapped the ball over the quarterback's head 3 times. What would George O'Leary do in this situation?
In this situation, man, for offensive line, it's so hard to take a guy out in the middle of a drive, just because a lot of the things that we do in order to succeed has to do with building chemistry with the guy next to you. So even if that guy is messing up, to take him out and put somebody else in who probably hasn't been working with him the entire week, because that's just not how things go. Unless you're going to be in the rotation playing like that, especially at center, it's hard to take a guy out just to put him back in. It's something that just has to get fixed in practice so it can be fixed in the game. So, and if I was the one, I would just make sure you would have to have extra snaps throughout practice. Can't leave without 20, 30 perfect snaps in a row, just so it can be something that's muscle memory, so it doesn't happen in the game any longer.
Otis Anderson was quoted as saying, "We just have to get set." How much of everybody has to be set? is on quarterback Dylan Gabriel?
Well, he's running the show, so a lot of it goes on him. But I don't like saying that all of it goes on one particular player. Like for a play to work, for us to be successful, 11 guys have to be working in the same cohesion, working together for the play to be successful. And it takes a little bit of everybody. But since he's the leader of the show, he has to make sure that everybody's right.
All right, before we get into the next question, this is live, live stuff. And sometimes live stuff, funny things happen. I'm wearing this shirt for a reason today. This is the Fiesta Bowl shirt. And Jordan, obviously a big member of the team. And so was this guy here. Happy to have Terrance Plummer also now joining the chat, the live stream. So Jordan and Terrance Plummer both joining us here. Terrance, first off, thank you for taking some time for joining us today. We were just kind of chatting with Jordan a little bit about some of the struggles UCF's had from a penalty standpoint. You were obviously a guy who played defense, and we've seen a couple of the guys on the O-line struggle. What would you, as the leader of the team, do to help try to get some of these guys some of their confidence back? Right? You know, we saw Matt Lee, a young center, had a bunch of penalties. You obviously didn't play on that side of the ball, but as a leader of the team, are you going up to guys all week, getting in their ear and giving them encouragement? Are you leaving them alone? What kind of things would you do to try to get some guys ready to go this week?
First off, thank y'all for having me on the show. Shout out to my big brother to my right of me, Jordan McCray. That's my dog. He was in my wedding, just so y'all know. We had a wedding. Don't tell nobody. All right. As a leader, when we dealt with I'm not going. It's a little different. When I was at UCF, Coach O'Leary was the one who got on us really about penalties and that type of thing. And he would come starters, and we would just try to reiterate the message down to everybody else that, penalties are something that can really make or break your team that year, especially when you have a drive going well, and as soon as you get a penalty, it can stop that momentum or whatever you're doing. So it's just, it's up to the leaders of the teams, up to the seniors, to just, get the young guys to understand, even if you get beat, never try to grab, never try to hold, never try to do those things, because it can always set your team back, and you never know how a play may happen. So just always try to be fundamentally sound, and as a leader, I guess I would just tell the guys, keep fighting, keep going, keep working your craft, because penalties are going to happen, especially during a season like this. It's tough, with everything that's going on. You got to have some young guys step up. We just, as a fan base and as UCF Knights, we can't lose. We can't lose our feeling towards the team. I just feel like as fans at times, we can be tough on that kid. I've seen a lot of people be really tough on that kid, and that kid's in college, like you have to understand that he's a young guy. He's doing everything that he can. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that, this is a young team. We don't have those guys from the past still there, but we have to encourage them and let them know that, if they believe in themselves and we believe in them, we can make it happen. Sorry for the long answer, but
this question is for both of you guys. You guys were both there in 2013. A lot of close games, man. Louisville, Memphis, Temple, Houston, and even in 14 with Houston again, and the ECU, the Hail Mary. How much of winning close games is a little bit of luck, but also knowing as a team how to come through in the end of those games? Jordan, you want to go first?
I think. Well, it's a little bit of luck, but you just have to develop knowing how to win those games. Like even in games that when we were down 21 at Louisville, we all knew that we had a chance to win still because of the guys that we had in that room. And if you remember 2 years before that, we lost those same kind of games. We lost the years we went 5-7. We lost 6 games by a total of 27 points. So it was like a little bit of growing pains from that year that led on to us being successful 2 years later. Because a lot of those same guys were the same guys playing. We were just a younger team at that moment. But as long as everybody on the team knows that you have a chance to win, nobody's hanging their head low. When things start to get a little edgy, a little rough, you got to know that you have to have the same mentality that you had in the beginning of the game. I think that things like that help a team know that they can be successful no matter how the game goes.
Yeah. Just to go off that, I think it goes by the work that you put in practice. When you work really hard during the week and getting prepared for another team, you want to win that game. You want to win that game. You know, you give all that time, and I think that year we worked so hard in practice, and we were so dedicated to our team in the film room.
Yeah.
We didn't. It was just a competitive mindset. Like, if we have time on this scoreboard, we're gonna find a way to make it happen. And like Jordan was saying, my freshman year, we lost when we went 5-7. We lost 6 games by 27 points, and then my sophomore year, we lost to Tulsa in like 2 games close back to back, and we had to deal with that the whole offseason. And you know, that just fueled us. And I think that's the reason why we were able in 2013, like, it all just came together. We had a great team, we had good players, you know, but I think it was just the fact that we worked so hard together. We all loved each other, and it was our time at that point.
Last I spoke with each of you guys, you were over in Tampa with the Vipers. So, Terrance, you mentioned wedding. Everything went off without a hitch?
Yeah, man. It was, well, you know, I don't know if I'm supposed to be telling people I got married during COVID. You know what I mean? Nobody.
We'll just keep it between us. Don't worry about it.
Right. I've already said it, so man, I've already told them myself. But you know, the good thing is nobody came back, got a positive test. So I was very thankful for that. But you know, with the XFL going under, you know, it was pretty tough. Having to adjust again, you know, like this is Jordan's second time being in the league like this, in which, you know, everything is going smooth and then it's canceled. And this is like, and then I joined the AAF the last day of it. I'm getting a physical, and the doctor tells me, "Hey man, we can't finish your physical. You know, the league is going under." I'm like, okay. I done drove all the way down here. Can't even, you know, it gets rough. So, but ever since then, ever since the XFL's kind of been over with, I just been just kind of working, still working out, just trying to.
It's coming back. It's coming back now.
Yeah, it is in 2022.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I'm not a young guy no more, man. I'm still young. I'm 27, but golly, that's 2 years, you know. So just gonna try to if it comes back around and everything works out, I would love to join it again.
Well, I want to ask a little bit more on penalties, because they're going to happen. There are going to be penalties. It's going to happen today. It's going to happen in every game. But now, because of the sheer volume and number and the magnitude of these penalties, when one happens, how do you not let it creep into your head? Is this going to be coaches? Is this going to be players? Because somebody's going to make a mistake today, and how do they not let that weigh them down and get into their head and really impact their game out there today?
You just gotta stay strong mentally. Like, I remember when we were at UCF, Coach O'Leary used to always tell us, you can have a bad play, but you can't have a bad day.
Yes.
So you can't let everybody's gonna make mistakes. Some might not even be penalties. You just gotta go on to the next play and make sure it's your best one then.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have penalties are part of the game, man. You just can't make penalties be something that takes you out of your mindset. Like, oh, the refs are against the door, oh, you know, all this. You just gotta lock in and focus at the end of the day, because at the end of you never know when the next play is gonna be the play that changes the course of the game. So, you know, especially you're gonna deal with that when you have young guys out there on the field. You know, it comes with maturity. It comes with you know, time, you know, experience on the field. I think, honestly, I feel like as a fan, because I'm a fan now. I'm an alumni, but I'm a fan now. I feel like we've been spoiled since in 2017, 2018. Those are literally senior laden, talented teams, you know, who kind of, you know, made all those plays, and they were rolling. And then 2019, you know, we still have a good year. And then 2020, we come in with all this, you know, all this hype and everything like that. And we lost one game. I feel like we still have everything in front of us. So I just feel like we just got to be patient. And the players, you know, they have to, you know, take it upon themselves to realize, you know, can't make these mistakes.
I would say, Terrance, we're playing Memphis today. So you probably remember this. I'm going to try to share this for you guys now. I don't know if you can see it on screen. Terrance, what do you think of when you think of this game here, this upcoming play here? First, you can see stand back. with a big hit. So Terrance, for you, what do you remember about that play?
Come on! I remember that. Hey, stand back. Hey, let me tell y'all something, man. Hey, shout out.
CP had 2 picks this game.
I did have.
Hold on, it's coming up. It's coming up.
Hey, let me tell you, stand back is forever. Stand back had 2 of the most legendary plays I've ever seen in UCF football history as a freshman. This play right here, when he smacked this dude, oh my goodness! You talking about a form tackle, head across the chest, put his helmet on the ball. Oh my goodness! And then he had the Rutgers game, and when he ran the guy over on the sideline. So shout out to William Stanback, one of the most legendary freshman years of all time. Where I was at that point in time, I think I was getting ready to run on the. Oh, I was on kickoff actually. Somebody got hurt, and coach put me on kickoff, and I'm running down there, and I'm thinking I was gonna make the tackle, and then all of a sudden I seen Stanback come out of nowhere and just shatter Buddy dreams. So, and then he picked it, and then Trylko picked it up and scored. I'm like, oh my goodness.
All right, well, so Jordan, what do you give me your play-by-play from this memorable play right here? Is that luck? What happened there, Jordan? Was that a lucky interception?
I was just so happy this game because this game, man, that was Clay making a great play on the ball and TP being where he needs to be. That's why we practice so hard. So you work hard and things like that happen for you. But I just remember this game that we couldn't do anything right on offense. We couldn't do anything right on offense. We scored. We had a nice long drive at the end of the game. 4th down. Brashad caught a good 4th down pass. I don't even remember who scored the touchdown after that. But they were driving down the field. I was like, dang. We got to get it together, and the defense bailed us out that game, and I was just happy that we was able to get back home with the win on that one. And then we had the Louisville next week, so we had to make sure we were ready for that one too.
Yeah. Hey guys, somebody asked us this week if I would rather have the offense on the field or the defense on the field at the end of the game to win it. I know you guys are both on opposite sides, so obviously you probably both want to be on the field when the game is decided. But when you're on the sideline and it's up to the other guys, are you guys just like a fan? Are you nervous? How's it going in your head during that time?
I play defense, so I like to be on the field. I like to be on the field, so we can get them out of there. But I guess 2013. Are you talking about 2013? You're talking about in general?
Anytime, like in Louisville, when these guys are driving down the field, what are you thinking on the sideline? You're sweating it out, and then same thing with him on defense. Memphis is thrown into the end zone. What's going through your head?
I'm gonna tell you something that I firmly believe about that our team in 2013 or just in general. When you're in those situations, literally everybody has to believe on the sideline, in the stadium or wherever they are, that we are gonna score. Mm-hmm. If you have somebody who doesn't feel that way or is bringing that energy through, it won't happen, man. And I feel like we trusted enough. I mean, we had Boat back there, man. We had Boat. We had the best offensive line in history of that, in school history, and we had playmakers. And I feel like when that 2013 year, I feel like we always had a chance. So that's just how I look at it. You gotta have faith that the other group will get it done. And if it doesn't work out that way, it doesn't work out that way. But I just feel like you always gotta believe. You always got to.
As rivals go, do you both consider Memphis to be one of UCF's biggest rivals?
Memphis?
I think so.
For sure.
Even if it's one-sided?
Whenever we play Memphis, it's always even if it's one-sided, it's just off the history of the games. Because whenever we play Memphis, my entire time there, it was always except for one time we beat them pretty bad. I don't think I've ever lost to Memphis. Not while we were there.
Yeah.
What year were you born? Jordan, what year were you born? Jordan, what year were you born?
What year was I born? 1992. Yeah,
you haven't lost to Memphis yet. The last time was 1990 that they beat UCF.
The only time.
But the thing, it's
Dang, I didn't know that.
so one-sided. But the games were all so
Dang.
close. Even when McKenzie them played them in the AAC championship, when they were going back and forth, like it's always it's a close game. But we are dominating them. I mean, technically, we haven't lost to them, but I mean, they carried over from Conference USA, so that kind of they kind of makes them a little rival.
That's a good question. I guess we'll find out today as we embark on yet another Memphis UCF tilt. I know you guys are both busy, so I'll get you out of here on this. Jordan, do you care to make a prediction of the score or the outcome of today's game?
I'll say 49-20 UCF.
Ooh, all right. I like that. And T Plummer, what do you got? What do you got? Prediction for today's game?
Yeah, man, I was going 45-21 UCF.
Well, let's hope we get that. Let's hope both of you guys are right or somewhere in between. UCF obviously needs a big rebound win after last week. But hey, Jordan, Terrance, we appreciate you guys taking some time out of your schedule. I know you guys are busy on a Saturday. Hopefully, you get a chance to sit back and watch the game today. On behalf of Night Nation, thanks for everything you guys do, and we hope to catch up with you guys down the road.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
All right, y'all be good.
Thanks.
Go Knights.
That was pretty fun. We had Terrance and we had Jordan at the same time. So we appreciate you guys listening for that. I know there may have been some audio stuff some people were telling us. So any audio issues, we apologize for that in advance. But hey, always good to catch up with some of the old guys, Mike. And that was a good question that Jordan brought. Is it a rivalry if the other team never wins? So, but obviously we know Memphis is hungry. So where do you put this in terms of your rivalry type games or rivalry type teams as it relates to UCF?
Look, you guys listen to the show. You know I'm a Yankee fan. I said for years, it's not a rivalry with the Red Sox. We beat them all the time until finally they beat us. But Memphis is a team we've played. We haven't played anybody more than Memphis except for East Carolina and Bethune. So, yeah, we used to play them every year in the Conference USA. We played them how many times? 14 times now. I think they are a rivalry, and we played them in championship games. Just because we've won every game doesn't mean, like these guys just mentioned, they were very close games the last 3 times we played. So what? If they beat us today, tomorrow it's a rivalry all of a sudden? No, it's a rivalry now. And, I give these guys a lot of respect. They played some good games with us. So there was a time where they were the doormat of the Conference USA East, where we would just beat on these guys. But that's not the case anymore. So I think it is a rivalry.
Trace, how about you? Rivalry game?
Yeah, I'm kind of in between. I just because I don't think there are too many rivals that UCF has. So this one elevates as a result of, the last couple of seasons. You look across. So you have to ask yourself this as well. Is Tulsa a rivalry game now? Do they think of us in that way? Are they as passionate about playing us as they are about playing Tulane or Houston or something, rivalries don't happen overnight. They're forged over time. Hatred develops between fan bases, alumni bases. Certainly, if you're Memphis, you do not like the way it has played out the last couple of seasons against UCF. So you, as a fan, are fired up. Look, we had a disadvantage with the folks over in Tampa for a number of years, and they were ready to say it wasn't a rivalry, and we all know better, and we're about to even that score over the history of that series. So as far as UCF is concerned, in football, not a lot of rivalries that exist. We'll put this one in the top half of them for UCF.
Well, either way, rivalry or not, there have been some big plays, some big moments. UCF Mike was hard at work this week, putting together another highlight reel. So here are the top 5 all-time plays, UCF and Memphis related here. Play number 5 comes courtesy of just a recent night. Mr. Adrian Killens took a long one to the house, 96-yarder here. Mike, how much do you wish we had AK back in the field right now?
Man, I miss him. And we have a great stable of running backs, but he was the guy that brought in UCF fast. You see it there. Nobody could catch this guy. Longest run from scrimmage ever. It might be the longest play from scrimmage ever. 96 yards, and we blew these guys out. That was 2017 when the blowout.
Trey, play number 4, Mackenzie Milton. I don't think I need to describe this one here. What did this play mean for UCF history? Saved the season that year, right?
Well, yeah. Remember they were down in this game, and this, began starting to rally them back and putting them back in this game. And, it just shows you the heart of Mackenzie Milton. Let me just look at right here. Just watch how he throws his body up into the end zone. That is why we love KZ in Night Nation.
Superman.
Yeah, third most memorable play. Trey Neal with the big time pick, Mike.
Championship game. This game was back and forth all day, overtime and double overtime, and Bounce House going crazy. What a play by Trey Neal. Unbelievable.
Don't forget Jakeem Griffin with the big pressure on Riley Ferguson there to force the interception. Second play, Trace. Let's go Bone.
Yeah, maybe the quintessential Josh Heupel play call right here as well. That was something that endeared him to Night Nation with that play call. Pivotal moment in that game.
I've had a lot of good memories of our show, Mike. One of my favorite was having Taj McGowan on. And just the excitement when he described that play was awesome. And play number one, we saw just a little bit ago when we talked to Terrance and Jordan. Mike, the stand back hit again.
Stand back, unbelievable. That play would probably be targeting today. I mean, you saw Sakai's Cradle get called for targeting last week. What a shot this guy laid on him. And you see the different angles. And look at the score, 17-17 with 2 minutes to go in this game. We were losing in this game, and people forget. After this touchdown, Memphis returned the kickoff for a touchdown, which got called back for holding, and they still drove all the way down the field for the Terrance Plummer interception. What a shot Sandback laid on this guy, and a play that will live forever in UCF history.
Yeah, it may not be a rivalry, but again, a lot of big plays have happened as it relates to these guys too. So we have a couple of questions coming through here. Let's see if I can find one. I assume this is tongue-in-cheek. Trace, I'll give this one to you. Michael Rudikowski wants to know, is there a spare $10 million laying around for Heupel's buyout?
No. And you've heard Danny White talk about that because of COVID, the athletic department's looking at maybe upwards of $14-15 million in projected losses. No, there's not. That gets less with every passing year. And UCF Night Nation has stepped up in recent months during all of this to contribute dollars, but not anywhere near 10 million. And there may be folks like Nicholson who contribute their name to a building and the Roths and such, but I don't hear any of them ponying up 10 million for this right now.
I think the buyout's significantly less now after this season, right? Both ways. Either somebody poaches him or if we got rid of him. But still, we're not throwing away $1 million to get rid of the guy. Unless, he just falls in the tank for the rest of the season. We lose 4 or 5 more games. Then anything's up for the debate.
Yeah, but to that question, Mike, I don't want to get to this point, but if they were to lose today, you could see where the season could crater in a way in which 2015 did.
Hey, guys, look, we broke the season down into 3 parts. The first 3 games, these 3 games, and the last 3 games because we have a bye week in between those. This 3 games coming up is the toughest part of the schedule. 2 road games at Memphis, and a game at Houston, and Tulane coming in next week. Tulane's not going to be a pushover either. No. This is a tough stretch, the toughest stretch of the schedule, I think. We have to win all 3. If we lose 2, he is on the hot seat.
And then Mike will be ponying up some money for the.
I'll throw in some bucks.
This comes from.
He'll cut back on his beer budget. The beer budget will take a hit, and he'll divert some of those dollars. What's the beverage of choice today, and how long have you been drinking? That's what Night Nation wants to know.
Heineken. I went back to game 1 where I drank the Heinekens against Georgia Tech. This is about my 3rd one today. I have my lovely daughter behind the scenes passing me beers as we are doing the show.
I don't know if I'd admit that on camera. Our good buddy Drew Belani, who is on the 96 Lost episodes that you can't hear anymore, he wants to know over under on penalties today. Friendly wager. So Trace, if I put the number, UCF's basically averaging on penalties anywhere between 15 a game at this point, right? So if I put the number at 14.5, today's penalties, Trace, are you taking the over or the under?
I will take the under. Until they show me consistently that they have addressed problems and that they are working to reduce the number of penalties, I still think there are going to be penalties. When we talk about in the game flow, does that bother you as much as this pre-snap stuff, and especially for the timing of their offense? That has to be addressed today. I still think that they flirt with close to 10 penalties. I'm just hoping that it isn't a lot of that pre-snap stuff, and obviously none of the losing your mind, like throwing the helmet kind of penalties, So can't have any of that. But I haven't seen a lot during Heupel's tenure to tell me that it's correctable. And it was addressed after ECU and did not change with Tulsa. And everybody that says it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal when you have a talent advantage over an ECU. It becomes a big problem when you're punched in the mouth against a Tulsa. And you know you're going to get a fierce game from Memphis today. So you can't have that number. But I'm going to go with the under because I want to be optimistic about today.
Michael?
Until these guys prove me wrong, I have no reason to think we're going under. I mean, you can set the over-under at 20, and I wouldn't know what to say. Because we were at 18, 19 the last 2 weeks.
20 is a ridiculous number. Oh, 18,
yeah,
19.
It's one more than yeah. So I really don't know what to tell you. I'm praying that it's way under. But you know what's going to happen is we may go the first 2-3 quarters looking good. As soon as we have a little stretch with 2-3 false starts, that's when things start to snowball. It's contagious. That's what we got to stay away from today. No bad stretches like that.
We asked you if you have changed your routine leading into the game. Fall candle during the Tulsa game. No candles will be lit in the house today. So bad juju. So no candles for I think that's WP Wellbrock.
I think that's the only candle-related change in routine that we're expected to hear today.
Our good friends Dan and Britt got up. Looks like they had some bacon, and they are there with their tailgate group as they have been for years. So no change. Mike, you went to the Heineken. Trace, I don't know if we know this about you. Are you superstitious? Do you have a routine? Anything you changed this week?
No, not particularly. No, nothing that I can alter. But I'm not going to light any candles now either. So that's for sure.
And this is our good buddy Citronaut. Did not post a flags up Friday yesterday to change the juju. So Night Nation out there doing their parts to make sure that we keep things under control here. Let's sneak in a trivia question really quickly. Trace, I don't know if you know the answer to this one. So KZ has the most touchdowns by a quarterback against Memphis in UCF history with 11. Who is second on the list? Who has the second most touchdowns from the quarterback position while playing Memphis?
Good one. That's a good one. You need to give away some prizes. There need to be some prizes for Night Nation when they respond to these. Like a Heineken or two, you know. Mike, he's already planning to give money for the potential Heupel buyout. He can afford a prize or two for.
I'll send somebody a 6-pack. No big deal.
Maybe Libby can hand over some of these Sam Adams Oktoberfest because she's calm. She's got some nerves. She's trying to calm down over there. So perhaps Libby can hand over some Sam Adams. Again, get in the comments with your answers here. Sebastian avoided the shirt he wore to the Tulsa game. That sounds like a really good idea. Yes, thank you for doing your part, Sebastian. I think we've all banded together here to make sure. Can you confirm this is your superstition, Trace? Patrick wants to know.
No. I just like to bring him out for this show. I got to move him back into the garage though. He freaked me out after one we did. Where I turned around, I'm like, whoa, hey, you know. So. No, do not pat. But if we, you know, maybe I don't want to change it. I don't want to get into the juju. I'm not all. I don't have any, so I don't need to start adding things where I got to pat his head.
In an update to a previous, Libby will not be giving you her beers. She's going to need all of them. So please do not expect any beers from Libby for anything. But Trace, what should we expect from Memphis? You mentioned it earlier. I know we haven't seen a ton of their games. But they had some some turnover on the coaching staff, but they remained some continuity with the promotion of an assistant within. Brady White is back for here. I think it's his 19th year as quarterback. There are some rumors floating around about DeMonte Coxie, who is their star wide receiver. There's some Twitter chatter about is he opting out. Some people are saying that's just a smoke screen. Obviously, the game is in Memphis, where we've struggled. The last time we were there, we had a nice comeback. So what do you expect from Memphis today, Trace? I know we've talked a lot about UCF. Do you know what you're going to get from the Tiger team?
I mean, you mentioned White. You have a veteran quarterback, and when you have a veteran quarterback leading the offense and an offense that has been as efficient as they have the last couple of seasons, expect more of that today. You know, I don't want to disrespect or disregard Memphis, but UCF's ability to win this game today is in it limiting its mistakes and not beating itself. And we talk about this a lot. I don't really think there's anybody on the schedule that can beat UCF head-to-head. It's when UCF beats itself or keeps a Memphis in the game. So, you know, you heard those guys talking about Terrance and Jordan, you know, maybe blowout size proportions in this game. And I don't expect that. I expect it to be a big scoring game. And it could come down to that, who gets the ball last. I mean, we've seen this, and we ran out of time with those guys. Kind of wanted to ask them what they thought. I mean, scores have been through the roof, right? In college football, pro football, the NFL, a lot of high-scoring games. The SEC's resembled the Big 12 of late. And look at some of the AAC games, another high-scoring game between SMU and Tulane. So every week, a lot of offense. So, I just expect Memphis to rely on White, and that's where defensive pressure on him, really getting in his face, disrupting his game, forcing him into mistakes, and then seeing UCF capitalize on those mistakes could be a big difference maker today.
Good to see Chris out there, a fellow White Claw drinker. She's drinking all the claws, praying to Hawaiian gods. And so thank you, Chris, for hopping in. Mike, obviously we played Memphis a handful of times. We did not play them last year. They've gone through some changes as well. What do you expect from Memphis? How do you think they'll come out? I mean, typically they've come out and punched us in the face. If you remember the AAC championship game, the game I'm 1.5 for here, they came out. I think Darrell Henderson may still be running free from that game right now. I can't confirm that. I'll check on that for you guys. But they came out and Wildcat. They came out running all over the place. It seems like they usually come out and they're a good first half team. What do you want to see kind of early on for the Knights? Do you want to see them, try to combat some of these things? Do you expect Memphis to come out in some crazy formations? What are you looking for as the game gets kicked off?
Look, I told you this week, the lowest scoring game between these two teams is 41 points, and that was twice. We beat them 41-0 one year, and one year was 24-17. Other than that, all the games have scored a lot of points back and forth. I don't know if Mike Hart can handle one of these games. I like the way these guys were thinking before with a nice, comfortable 20-point win. I don't know what to expect coming into this game. I don't know what to expect out of UCF. I don't know what to expect out of Memphis. The beers haven't calmed me down at all. In fact, I'm thinking of getting a little more nervous now as we're getting closer to kickoff. I'm not going to know how I feel until halfway into the game probably. Even then, it's still going to be too early because we saw the last few times against these guys, we're getting destroyed at halftime. How would this year's team respond to something like that? I don't know. And to be honest, I'm not really that confident in it. Now, the first two games of this season, we were down 7-0. Okay, they came back and they destroyed those two teams. If Memphis comes out and punches us right away, 14-0, 17-10, 17-3, something like that, how does this team respond today? That's going to be what tells us the difference between this team and the teams of the last few years.
Well, those were the first two games, but remember, last at Tulsa, UCF had the advantage, 23-5. So jumping out and having a lead, that one didn't turn out that well. But, we've talked about it in these games. You want to start out well, and on the road at ECU and at Georgia Tech, they were down. And I know you guys talked about it on your show this week. Special teams. Boy, you don't want this game to come down to a field goal. You talk about Tulsa, we're focusing a lot on penalties. Really, they lost across the board, right? From coaching decisions or lack of coaching decisions, special teams. I mean, there's a missed, 21-yard field goal. And remember, in the history with Memphis, it was Memphis missing a kick against UCF in that AAC championship game that sets up what later becomes a UCF win, So, you hope, I hope it's a 3-touchdown game today for UCF. And you don't want to rely upon special teams because last couple seasons, that hasn't been our forte.
And just the first 3 games, you just brought up a point. Whoever scores first loses in every UCF game so far this season.
Okay.
Well, there's some juju there, I guess.
All right. So Mike says taking the gate. I do want to answer the trivia question. I don't know if you guys can see this. Nelson actually texting his answer. Nelson texting the answer. Don't know if you can see that. The answer is actually Darrell Mack Jr., 6 touchdowns, and then American Conference Championship game actually is second on the list. The third place finishers were both Jet Godfrey and Stephen Moffitt. Both had 5 touchdowns apiece. So in one game alone, Darrell Mack Jr. eclipsed that record as well. So quick update for the American as well. Looks like Navy has beat ECU. I don't know if anybody cares about that, but for those who do, Navy has beaten ECU. A couple of questions I've strolled through here. This is from UCF Dad Bod. I'll go with it. Are we pushing the tempo before establishing a rhythm? Trace, what are your thoughts on sort of UCF's tempo? We heard Heupel in his availability this week kind of make reference to guys got to get set. Dylan's got to see if guys are getting set. Do you think there's something to the tempo rhythm thing? And do you think Heupel will be willing to make modifications there if he thinks that might be the major issue with some of the penalties?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to Coach Otis Anderson that says we need to get set, okay? Not Coach Heupel on this one. And if the difference is between 6 and 7 seconds and 9 and 10 seconds, I want Dylan to say, I'm going to take those 2 seconds. Everybody's lined up. Let's do the right thing on this play. And I think if they can start to do that, back to who scores first, it isn't as much important to me who scores first, but you can't have what you had against East Carolina with 4 false starts off the top of the game. I mean, that is bad for the, in your head right there. So I'd rather they take that 2 seconds, but they are built on UCF fast. So this false start stuff I think is more an anomaly, but they've got to get it under control. If for no other reason than the doubt that it creeps in. By the way, game time set for 3:41. So a couple minutes left in the Georgia Tech Clemson game. So kickoff will be at 3:41. So that's about 20 minutes or so.
Are we extending the pregame show now because of this?
If you guys want us, we'll be here. Mike, same question to you. Is the tempo the problem? And if so, do you think something has to change there?
Look, tempo is the problem when we're having all these penalties. When we're not having the penalties, the tempo is beautiful, and we love it. And as UCF fans, the defenses against us can't get set, and we take advantage of those opportunities all the time. When we start doing the false starts and we're doing it, then it looks ugly. It's the same thing in baseball. A team comes out and gets shut out, and you say, "Oh, these guys look flat." No, the other team was pitching a good game. It's all like everybody goes back in time and says, "This is what happened." The whole thing is under our control. We can control these false starts, and if we have to take another second, then take another second. But it's not going to be that big of a deal.
All right, really quickly, we have our next guest is on the stream here, ready to go and give us some updates from on the scene in Memphis. Happy to have Brian Murphy. He covers UCF for the Black and Gold Banneret and for the Atlanta Sentinel. He is live in Memphis, so you can hear the press box behind him. So please don't worry about all that. First off, Brian, thanks for taking some time to hop on today. Let's start quickly with injuries. Who's in? Who's out? I know you posted you saw Marlon on the field. Parker Vergil looks like he's playing. What do we know about the other guys? Greg McCray, Ventavious Thompson. Do we expect to see those guys back?
So Greg McCray is out there. Otis Anderson is out there. Ventavious Thompson was not out there, and it was just announced. I guess Mark Daniels just said Ventavious did not travel with the team. So Ventavious is not there. The only guy who's not out there that could be a big loss to this team is Eric Gilliard. Their leading linebacker, really, except, aside from Eric Mitchell. Eric Gilliard was in sweats. He did not warm up. Not sure what's wrong with Eric, but he's not going to play.
Brian, we get the question every week. Mackenzie Milton, is he coming back this week? Is this the week he makes the comeback? Is he in pads this week? Is he warming up with the team, or should we not expect it until next week?
I've seen the rumors. He's not in pads. There are 3 quarterbacks in pads, and it's the 3 you would expect. It's Dylan Gabriel. It's Quadro Jones. It's Parker Navarro. KZ went through his normal pregame routine of throwing passes in shorts and his jersey top. He's not in pads.
A hard-hitting question off the top. What went into the selection of this fedora today? What was the?
This is actually a really cheap, hurried look, Trace. This is actually a fedora that I wear on like the midweek Zooms, which is usually not what I want to do for a game day. Usually I save my good fedoras for game day, but this is a very last-minute get-up. So please don't judge me. Thank you.
Okay. Speaking of the midweek Zooms, in interactions with players and coaches, besides the cliched sound bites, did you sense any difference coming off this loss? Any sense of doubt, or do you feel like they still believe in themselves and that they can overcome the mistakes that they made in the Tulsa loss?
Well, I think they still believe. Certainly, they're not going to tell you that hope is lost. The end is nigh. The end is nigh. No, they're still going to be confident. They said all the right things about how they've done things in practice to alleviate all the false start penalties. But the fact is, we won't know until we see it on the field today. We had the same conversations after the ECU game, right? When they had 8 false starts there, and they said during that week before Tulsa that they had done things to ameliorate those issues. It didn't happen. It got worse. So we won't know really until they play the game. But they've said all the right things.
Brian, one of the other rumors floating around social media had to do with Memphis and their star receiver, DeMonte Coxie. There was some internet chatter that he might not. He may have opted out. He might not play. Are you seeing him on the field? Do you know if he's in today?
So I did not see him, and no one here saw him. So it does not look like he's going to play, which is gigantic. DeMonte has been one of the best receivers in college football for going on 3 years now, and just a 6'3" big body receiver, but also a big play guy too. It's a big loss. But did not see him. Over.
Only about 10 to 11,000 fans allowed in the game today. Can you get a sense of how many UCF fans are walking around last night and then today in the stadium?
I can't. I should look around. I don't know. I see a couple of rows. Like literally, that's it. But like it's like it's very sparse. It's very sparse throughout.
So we're not going to hear the Knights chant during the national anthem, probably.
Yeah. No.
I want to go back. I think it was the injuries updates that we knew about, but Eric Gilliard, what do you think the impact is on him not playing today?
Well, he's been one of their best linebackers, right? So really, you got to depend on Eric Mitchell. But then it's the youngsters, the sophomores, your Tatum Bethunes, your Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste, Quad Mosier is going to have to see some playing time too. But to lose a leader like that, a linebacker leader like that, a guy who I think has started maybe close to, if not all the games he's played, it's a huge loss. And we'll have to see. I know Memphis, I think, is going to run a lot anyway. And without Coxey, they're probably going to run even more. And one of their backs, Rodriguez Clark, is a big-bodied back who can wear you down. And it'll be interesting to see if those linebackers are up to that challenge of stopping that running game.
Eric, what kind of bounce back game do you think you'll see from Dillon Gabriel? Obviously, as a true freshman, we saw him take a couple of tough losses. First one, obviously, in this year, up and down performance against Tulsa. What do you expect to see from Dillon today, based on kind of your interactions with him this week via the Zoom conferences?
You never know. Brian Murphy's frozen in time.
He might be frozen in time.
I just think you leave him up there, though. It's a good look. And there he's gone.
And he's gone. Well, we'll see if we'll effort him. I'll take him off the screen for a second. We'll see if he comes back. But some interesting news there. No Eric Gilliard, that sounds like. No Bentavious Thompson, sounds like. And on the Memphis side, could be a big smoke screen. Who knows what they're doing with the DeMonte Coxey, but obviously Brian Murphy reporting he's not yet seen him. That does not mean he's not playing. I think Brian's trying to be very careful with his words there. He does not see him warming up. Obviously, he could be back in the tunnel getting some sort of therapeutics. Who the heck knows, Mike? Without Eric Gilliard, Trace, are you concerned from a defensive standpoint?
I'm not overly concerned. I mean, he's critical, right? He's a great player, and he's been very important to UCF. But I think defensively, I still feel comfortable with UCF defensively. That's not as big a worry for me today, as it's strange, right? It's strange after the points that they put up against Georgia Tech, against ECU. I'm just a little more concerned about the offense at the moment because I think the offensive struggles against Tulsa kept the defense out there. I will say, an overall comment about the defense, get off the field on third down. Get off the field. And they also need to, back on offense, you're going to keep generating turnovers, which they've been really great at through 3 games. Score more points off the turnovers, right? So, Gilliard's a loss. I like who else they have on the team. I am more concerned about the offense today.
Well, Collier's back, right? And Richie Grant is back, and it looks like Marlon Williams may be back. So those are some huge names that we need out there on the field today. Gilliard's a nice player, but these young guys have shown potential too. So if we can get some good play out of these guys, I think we'll be okay. I'm more worried about getting pressure on the quarterback. We haven't seen as much of that. Are we going to see Morris Brash finally make an appearance? We've been talking about it all year on the podcast. Can we get some pressure on the quarterback? That makes a big difference. Make this team one-dimensional. Yes, they're going to run the ball on us. They've run the ball on us for the last 3 years. Key in on that. They're missing their best wide receiver now. Let's stop the run. That's number one priority, I think, on defense.
Just a quick update. If you're watching at home on the TV, looks like 11 minutes before kickoff, according to the countdown clock on ABC. So you're not missing much at that point right now. Apparently, you are missing this, according to Brandon Shannon. USF, just scored, going for 2 to tie. So I'd never thought I'd see those words actually pop up on my screen. And I'm not sure if we're allowed to drug test Brandon, but apparently, let's see if what he's reporting is true. Guys, what about Bentavious Thompson? It sounds like Greg McCray's back. Obviously, Otis Anderson was, on the nicked up category and Josh Heupel speak, but looks like he will be playing. How does that hurt the running back depth? We saw what happened sort of late in the Tulsa game when it was just Johnny Richardson and Demarius Good. While I think we all agree those are two players with a bright future, not having one of those guys in the backfield did seem like there's a bit of a hamstring there. So what do you make of this not having Bentavious Thompson, Trace?
Well, you can't be down to just those two guys. So it was losing everybody else. And, you like Bentavious, but when you've got the other guys back, I think that's fine. It's when you get down to those guys that are lower on the depth chart, that's where you have problems. And again, that's where you need a head coach to adjust and make better use of what he does have. And that, I am not convinced, has changed since the Tulsa loss. So when we say we don't know what we're going to see from a penalty standpoint, I kind of feel like we do know what we're going to see from a Heupel standpoint. So, let him surprise me. I know Mike's been talking about this. Let's see some different plays. Tulsa geared up and was ready for what UCF had shown. Show something different, coach. Or maybe you need to make a change in your offensive coordinator. Oh, that's him.
Oh.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Marlon Williams was actually commenting on the Ole Miss game last week, and he knew everything that was going to be run because he knew how they were set up, right? Because of Levy being the offensive coordinator. Well, guess what? If Marlon Williams knows what Ole Miss is running, people that watch film on us know what we're running based on what we're set up. We got to change things up. It has to happen. It has to happen today.
Okay. Show's over. It's going to happen today. There's no need to
today. It can't happen tomorrow, according to UCF Mike. It must happen today here. Let's get to the portion of the show where we maybe depress people or we have some fun with it. So we had both Jordan McCray and Terrance Plummer weigh in on their predictions, and both of them saw a pretty significant night victory today. I think both had over 20-point victories, if I remember their scores correctly. Obviously, it's been an interesting week. This is probably one of the first times in a long time we have seen a handful of people picking Memphis, particularly on the UCF side, whether that's passive aggressive or if that's actually how they feel. Who knows? But Trace, I'll start with you. Predictions sure to go wrong. When this is all said and done, what will the outcome be?
Well, as an alum, I'm not likely to say I'm going to go against UCF, and I probably would have predicted them in every game of 2015 too, because I just can't. And I think in our pick'em, I can't pick the cows in any week, so I'm bound to lose some of those along the way because I just can't pick them. So, all the talent is there. This UCF fast team, it's all there, but they got this yips thing with these false starts where they can't get out of their own way. And I think that keeps a game close. I think they can win. I'm going to predict them to win. To Mike's point, this is not a 6-3 game. This is a high-scoring game. So I've got 44-37 UCF. And key to me, Dylan Gabriel, listen to Coach Otis Anderson. Get your guys set. I know Jordan McCray doesn't want to call out the quarterback. I'm calling out Dylan. Doesn't care what I think, but I'm calling him out. Just get your guys set. Show leadership on that field. And when a guy makes a mistake, a Matt Lee makes a mistake, just get it, calm him down. He's a young kid. He's replacing a veteran in Jordan Johnson. He is going to be a great player in his tenure at UCF. He's young. He makes mistakes. But everybody can't make mistakes. And if we got Parker Boudreaux back today, by the way, on the offensive line, first false start he makes, he's just going to say, I just wanted to be a part of the team. I just wanted to be along with everybody,
Mike, how about you? What do you predict from a score standpoint?
Look, I stayed away from this game on our pick segment this week because I don't know what to expect. I told you guys I have no idea. We're favored by 3.5 on the road. I don't know, man. Like I told you, every one of these games the last few years have been very close. And then when we had Jordan McCray and Terrance Plummer on the show, they expect us to win by 20-plus points. They kind of got me jacked up. The Heinekens have got me jacked up. Now everything's getting – I'm ready. I think we're going to – UCF is coming back now. We're going to have to make a statement. Hey,
today.
We're back. We lost to Tulsa. Today. We lost to Tulsa. We have to make a statement, and it starts right now. We have 6 games left in this season. I love to just be cruising in the fourth quarter with my last couple of Heinekens in the refrigerator and win by 3 touchdowns. I cannot handle a 44-38 game. I'm going to predict 45-30. It's going to be close. It's going to be close to the first half. And we win by 2 touchdowns. We win by 2 touchdowns. We pull it out late in the end.
All right, I'm gonna be a little muted there. I'm gonna go UCF 37-35. I'm not. I think it's going to be a close one. I think we're going to be eking this thing out. I'm hopeful. I think I'm on the more confident than not confident side. But I mean, again, I've seen 2 straight games of evidence of us not playing up to our best. I don't know what has changed to make us play better. And so until I see that, I don't know that I can trot out a Paul Jones 54-21 scoreline. Although I certainly want it to happen. I don't know that I've seen enough to know if it will or won't happen. So for right now, I'm going to go 37-35 UCF. I would gladly be wrong and it'd be 57-35 UCF. I would take that all day. But I don't think that we just quite yet know what's going on here. Mike, Chet wants to check in on you. Are you okay? He says you're jacked up.
Oh, I'm jacked up, baby. I'm ready to go. Look, we get this. I missed all last week. We didn't have a game. I'm ready for today. I cannot wait for this game to start 10 minutes late, which is kind of aggravating me right now. We should be watching the game right now.
Yeah, set your DVR. What's the over-under on 4 hours?
Oh, we're watching this game till almost 8 o'clock.
Well, if you're watching right now, Mark Jones and Roddy White have appeared on your screen. I don't know if it's Roddy White. Is that his name? Roddy Jones and Mark Jones. Are they related? Don't know. They have appeared on your screen. They look like they're in a socially distanced booth right now. I'm sure they're giving you some great analysis, probably far better than what you've got here from us here today, unfortunately. But Citronite has the over at 75.5. It looks like most of us are taking the over. I've never been good at math. Trace definitely looks like he's got the over. Mike looks like he's got the over. So looks like the over will be the prevailing thing that we see here today. So just a few minutes here left until kickoff. We got just enough time for any more questions or comments. Make sure you get into your comment section. We got Dylan Gabriel Wormick on the field now. Looks like he's getting ready to go. So UCF again, we'll kick off in about 4 minutes on ABC. Was our 3rd ABC game of the year, which is certainly got to be a good one. So hopefully things will turn out better. Trace, I'll kind of leave you with Monday's headlines today. So when Monday's headlines come around, what will they say in the vaunted OrlandoSentinel.com? What will the headline be as it relates to UCF game?
UCF reduces mistakes, turns around its season.
All right.
The Knights are back. We dominate this game. Hey, by the way, before we get out of this thing, good to you on that background you got there. We got the Dante jersey. We got a shirt now. We got a few hats hanging around. Look at that. Your wife finally let you hang it up, huh?
Yeah, I was too lazy to actually put it up, so it took a little bit of time here. What is not back is my hearing after hearing Mike yell, "Knights are back" in my ears for the last 10 minutes. So on that note, we're gonna bid you guys all adieu. We thank you for joining us here on the pregame show. Went a little long today, but we appreciate you taking some time to chat with us and have some fun with us. Big thanks to all of our guests. Brian Murphy, hope he's unfrozen in the press box. Someone check on Brian Murphy for us, please. Then Terrance, Plummer, and Jordan McCray as well for taking some time out of their day to hop on here. But again, if you like what we do, find us all on Twitter. Sons of UCF at UCF Mike1 at @Pez for our good friend Trace Trylko. Sons of UCF podcast will be back on the air this week as always. And we'll be back next week for the Week 5 edition of the Sons of UCF pregame extravaganza featuring the one and only Mr. Trace Trylko. Until then, everybody, have a great afternoon. It looks like UCF has won the toss, and we are deferring, it looks like, if this man's arms are correct. Mackenzie is not
Milton out there.
We are deferring the toss, and so that is what you will see next on your TV screen. Until then, everybody have a safe evening. Good night. Good luck, and we'll talk this week. Go Knights.
Let's go, baby. Charge on. Here we go.
See you guys.